Right, so these are two poems by Muhammad, who is in Bangladesh and has been on Hajj. The pilgrim at the other end of the world. I seek a passage through the peninsular heat, my brain in tryst with certain pain, and in the many foibles I find, I play with my praying mind. The Medina hotness with a thankful breeze is singing after prophets walking. The fragrances of the city settle in piety is set in, beginning. Mecca of brooding hills touches my toes. My dust sit in roads by prayer modes. I know my soul's every cry gets heard. Humbled, I see sin scramble. The sight that emeralding decks better informs of new-found norms. My follies seek old grounds to dump. At this world, this pilgrim is no churl. And then Bangla again for the initiated. Cut off from the first world, without phone or computer, eyes find the broad Padma, the sky blue I'm coloured connections. The river is like the sea, no parameters in sight for miles and miles. Miles encompass Motor Rail City, Dhaka, Tongi, Padma Bridge, washed by torrents from high. The recurring urban rural dais is broad in the dreamer's eyes canvas. Nothing to photo or comment on the spot where grow grasses by lilies. Can't live without this informing breeze, this feeling of getting back gemmed landscapes. That's Mohammed's two poems.
Very lovely too. Very nice. I think we enjoyed those. Very nice. And you're reading for someone else as well, Peter? Or do you want to do it in part two?
Well, Anne might turn up, so I won't.
Oh, yeah, true.
As well,
okay.
But I'll read it in part two if she doesn't turn up.
All right. Narani, can we hear from you if you've got any poetry for us?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's always a bit confusing, like a juggling act, trying to figure out what the people are like. So these are all quite old ones. But anyway.
We're a broad church, actually, so don't worry.
And this was done for an art exhibition that was held at Nunhead Cemetery when they have their open event once a year. So it's called Forest Half-Light. In the forest, in the half-light, when you're wandering further into shadow, and there are few and fewer sun-kissed flowers as those spangled starbeams lose their power, a swaying dandelion seed just lures you in and you wind right off the path. And now those dancing dappled leaves upon your skin, with their shifting light and dark you're drunken in, begin to spread and shrink till you are hypnotized. Within a blink they take a dive and sink within you till you're dancing and are squirming with their mischief of the night. Those half-formed shapes that often so enchant you have now transmogrified to toothy demons whose only shady thought is to exercise those giant teeth. Programmed by their DNA, these shadow creatures want to get their way, and you're the only one who smells like food. With no introduction, gracious bow or wink, a devilish creature rises from your dappled skin, arches through the air and deftly bites your chin. Grappling hard against its demented grasp, you growl and shake and twist to loosen it, just as a second beast clamps around your wrist, a third and fourth encamp above your elbow. From the thronged morass of horns and teeth, yet more dappled ones arrive to haunt you, wailing, moaning, ripping, foaming, hungry for your living flesh and bone. Not content to simply feed, their needs are darker still. Your severed head observes them turn to feast upon your shadow's ephemeral meat. Then you are not sure if you are lost, because dappled devils have turned to dust, and now you're writhing and screaming in your coolly marbled tomb. You ring the graveyard bell, whose soundlessness you hope will tell you that you're resting in your bed and quietly dreaming. You hear faint ding-a-lings, and your heart that hoped to sing has dropped its anchor several further fathoms deeper. To a damp and grimly odoured pit, it's deep and dark, no hint of light, though strangely brighter behind your disbelieving eyelids. You are sure it can only worsen when your hope comes glinting through and lifts the shadow curse. Then someone calls your name and you arrive to hear this tale, recounting all your gruesome woes. You are half a human, half a shadow, blending with the crowd who believe they're safe and that this tale is just a story. But any time the sun could be snatched away, so check your skin for any form of dappling and aim to stay on and not stray from the path. Aim to stay on and not stray from the path.
She'll never look at a walk in the woods the same way. And I'm not going out in the evening either.
I'll leave that there because that was quite a long one, so I'll leave space for someone else.
Oh, well, it's up to you.
I've got another one. I've got something else for later. So
okay, yeah, that's fine. All right then, thank you. It's really good. I enjoyed that. So we're going to the Isle of Wight now. We're going to Mr. Rushton, who's probably got something for us.
Yes. So two poems, and they're both poems written by Ovid and translated by John Dryden in 1717, and then interpreted by me. I've changed the meter usually from pentameter to tetrameter, and also added and subtracted, etc., etc. And I'm not going to read them myself. Some people may know that I'm experimenting with artificial intelligence, so I'm going to introduce Galatea, who's going to read them, and she's going to be reading them through a kind of a distorted amplifier, which is her kind of backing group. So I hope the tech goes okay, and we'll just see how it goes.
Creation. Sea and earth and sky unframed, one face had nature, chaos named, an undigested lump, a barren load, with jarring seeds inside a rough abode, all unassigned, for in one body joined, the hot and cold, the dry and humid fight, the soft and hard, heavy with the light. And when a universe was formed, with no unfitting portions found, the gods made earth a spacious round, and gave the winds a chance to blow, and bade the rushing waters flow, in oceans, springs, expansive lakes. And clouds were spread and storms appeared, with thunder's voice which mortals feared. Unbounded, unrestrained by place, the world resistless and defaced, by mighty marks of mischief left behind, such as the rage of their tempestuous, inclement kind. The Golden Age. The Golden Age, humanity was new, no rule but reason knew, and with an honesty did good pursue. Unforced by punishment, unawed by fear, their words were simple and their souls sincere. Unwanted was the law where none oppressed, the rule of mortals written in their breast. No pleading crowds before the judge appeared, no courts erected yet, nor causes heard, for all was safe, and conscience was their guard. The trees in distant prospect of peace, not yet descending to the seas, nor yet for ships to sail abroad as mortals, unconcerned for more, confined their wishes to the shore. No walls or fence, or moat or mound, or drum, or trumpet's angry sound. No swords but void of care and crime, creation slept away their time, content with food that's freely bred, on wildings, strawberries they fed. Cornels and brambles gave the rest, and acorns furnished out a feast. In fields and meadows, flowers reigned, and western winds the spring maintained. From valleys, milk and nectar broke with honey sweating from the oak. Succeeding this, a silver age, the sun its course obliquely made. Good days retreated in the shade as air with heats began to glow, and winds were clogged with ice and snow, and mortals into homes were driven, seeking shelter from the heavens. Houses, then, were caves or sheds of osiers with moss as beds, and ploughs, the fertile furrows broke, with oxen underneath the yoke. And then, of course, the brazen age, an offspring prompt to bloody rage, but not impious yet. And steel succeeded then, the worst, and stubborn as the metal were the men, with ships for every wind that blew, the sailors and the depths were new. The hollowed trees the waves sustained in ploughing ocean's mighty plains, and landmarks regulated rights, no longer common as the light. Nor was the ground alone to bear its income to the crooked share, but mortals, rummaging its store, dug from the entrails precious ore. Thus steel and more accursed gold gave mischief birth and made it bold. By death did wretched man invade, by steel assaulted, gold betrayed. Now, brandished weapons in their hands, mankind is loose from moral bands. No hospitality remains, the guest imprisoned, even slain. The weak oppressed, the needy scorned, the righteous victimized at home, abroad the foreign hordes to blame, with modesty and truth disguised and avarice and fraud applauded, justice plagued, ignored, depressed, without the chance to convalesce. As decency in exile mourns, humanity to fear and superstition turns. The goddess Pallas beats Arachne, my divinity affronted.
Thanks for listening.
What was your muse called? Echo, Steve? But it's it's interesting. The technology is amazing. Yeah.
Well, was the volume loud enough? Was it too quiet?
The volume was there, but it was the echo was a bit distracting, I think.
Yeah.
I think
it worked really well initially, but after a while I just started to get annoyed by it.
It caused
Okay.
too much concentration was needed, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is the first. I mean, I've used Echo with more experimental pieces of poetry, but I'm applying the Echo to two quite traditional poems here. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see whether it works. You know, I think the Echo works when everything's more experimental, but whether it does, you know, with a more traditional narrative poem, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, well, it's more difficult on Zoom, I think, as well, because we haven't got perfect hearing on Zoom anyway, and I think it might exacerbate it a bit, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's a bit of a lag on Zoom, and I think because the pace was a fairly normal reading pace, and then the echo as well. That was it was sort of hypnotic, but it was kind of it was very hard to hold on to and grow and follow, really.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
I don't want you to get too big-headed, Steve, but I do prefer your voice.
There was that as well. We missed out on Steve.
We did miss out on that, didn't we?
Yeah.
I'm trying to duck out on performance. That's the thing, you see.
Yeah, you got more for us in part 2?
I have, yeah.
Right, okay. Minus the echo. Right. John, greetings. What have you got something for us, please? Oh, what's this? Pint or no? I need my glasses. Kent?
Sent to Coventry.
Oh, right. Okay, yes, I can see that. By Elephant.
Right. Following on the poem from the lady earlier, this is from another South London, this is a crematorium, actually. Anyway, the letter. Thought I'd sit down and write you a letter, let you know how things are getting on. It's been, what, 3 years now? How time flies. You'd hardly recognize the place. The rooms redecorated, the ceiling papers pasted back and like the walls now painted white. The old enamel sink has gone. Bought a whole new kitchen unit cheap. It's quite an improvement. Think you would have liked it. Oh, I've also had a go at the cupboard. Funny, all those little drawers with nothing but the folds of a 1920s paper. All that news kept out of sight. for 50 years. I wonder how the stories ended. Took an axe, smashed it into firewood. I admired your craftsmanship before each stroke. It had to go, though, considering the rot. Most of your clothing, too, has gone. The wardrobes have been emptied, and your entire estate, save a few items, what, a chain and a ring, have been scattered through the jumble sales of southeast London. Because it is summer, the fireplace is full. I've placed the table hard against the grate, and now the mantelpiece is lined with books instead of clocks. Perhaps when winter comes, I shall return to your idea of soft armchairs beside an open fire. I had thought to end this letter with, having a good time, wish you were here. But unable to find your address, is it really by that rose bush in the crematorium? I know I am really only writing to myself.
That's excellent, John. It's full of gentle pathos, you know. It's very moving. Nice and well read. Have you got another one for us, or are you going to wait for part 2, or it's up to you?
Well, I'll wait for part 2.
Okay. Fine. All right. Aaron, we're ready for you, young man. So, well,
right, thank you very
quite
much.
old, so everyone's a young man to me, so, okay.
Hello, everyone. Glad you can hear me. I've got 50. I've started going along to the Dead Good Poets Society in Liverpool in October '94, and I've now become a deaf god poet. This is, in case there's any like government interference post-kneecap, here's a sideways look at the life. Look at life that uses words to begin with R-O-C-K and S. This is Rock Bunker. Regards, only cold knowing surviving. Rock orbiting created keenness sounded. Really organized crime wave keeps surrendering. Rigid ornamental, carefully kilometer scale. Realistically, overlord celebrated killing scurrying. Rudely obnoxiousness, cursing keyboard stolen. Rightly obligated, catered killjoy superiority. Reactionary, overreact, caution kissing superstitious. Repeatedly opening cupboards, knighthood suppressing. Revolutionary observing, currently kidding selection. Ridiculed, objecting, careless, kneeing suggestions, rapport overly cutting, keystone supernatural, ruling obvious cruelty, keeping stunned. It's all there for it escaping, rumours obsolete, creasing, not insanity, rumbling, overground, causing kinship shattering. It's all here to escape from. Life and work time words. This next month they're gonna want something on resistance. So here's the best way I give them. Oh, come on. I'm sorry, I need to doing it all off the notes. Here we go. It was the in tray all along. Resist. The in tray hissed to a people who lived in a blink. Choose the hill. Train stilled. Decades of peat over wires complete, and the bricks to complete the sewer. The walls fell, the lies sell, and reproduce good boys and girls. Sunlight on the desk where an in tray faced west. Paint faded, but wire case excelled. Now that our gunfire piece can now tell our story, please. Waiting queue, the in tray bulged, came and went like governments, still could smell liquids from endless retirements as outside more things were built. Worked it out from their mouth, people still thought just talking itself. March for the blown apart, more venom of papers didn't sell, leading hopes still end up on knees pouring drink in tribute, and the in tray under the weight left harder marks on the desk where it ruled the world. That was close. Give more choice. Have the heroes at others' throats. Open wide, see both sides, pulled apart by horses nationwide. Still the in tray whispered at a continuing game contestant, imprisoned deep in the business of cash administrating for the festival of resistance. No more drugs, just enough. Keep them dumb in the mud, the in tray empty, worn on head, playing the game, Russia with love. Not a nightmare if could never wake up. And this last one, it's probably about as long as the first two I've just read put together, and it's a bit more international. It's written 22nd of May. The last episode, I've been very influenced by Stephen King's modern anthologies. You Like It Darker and The Bizarre Bad Dreams, but the last episode of the game show, make it a game show, something you control, live and unchecked, override verification. Such taste only be called President to Bulletproof. All for entertainment, all uncouths. Still not crumbled yet, establishment. And the next guest, you were a war and can't even afford? What stable were you born? No advertisement, commercial realized, toxic environment by association. Come on, make it a game show. You lose whenever using faltering, built from trained hands, soon useless. The trophy is the world as this. Game show rules never twigged. Such bubble enclosed, didn't notice. The whale going, oh yes, we did. Another episode of the game show. Stop what doing? Attend conference. African special guest. What's that? Begin with success and have her address. Then video on the screen. What's that? Subtitles, lettering, Russian, and film, not radioactive tape, available to such masses at time of recording made. Game show control room fidget. Oh my God, the president's speechless. No commercials to cut to. Into worldwide homes, the pictures of the exact man the president is. So they made it like a game show, but forgot how trained made disease. Everything on the screen, deviant, only kept alive by the cash prize that made everything all lenient. Make it a game show. Even the satellite doesn't touch. And of course, I'd love to do a second set, because when I don't do political stuff, I do stuff that makes me so grateful to be alive. Do not get the wrong impression. Look, when you look at that, look carefully. I've never done it, never gone into that. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'll see you in a second.
Thank you, Aaron. That was really refreshing. Thank you. The first one really rocks. The second one is so full of ideas and references. Well, the second and the third one. So lovely. Lovely. It's like beat poetry. Something a bit special about Liverpool, I think, Steve. Must be the air up there. So, yeah, thanks, Aaron. Look forward to part two. Now, where are we? Aaron, we're on Nick. Nick, hi.
Hi. Below the weir, where insects fill fluid spaces, wagtails dance for joy. So am I done now? You want more?
I think you won't get away with just one. You won't get away with one haiku, I'm afraid. Not when your haikus are so good. Actually, I had a yellow wagtail on my pond today on the trellis. Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah. Okay, carry on.
Beautiful birds.
Yeah, lovely.
I will read 3 linked little poems that are all based on an episode from the Kalevala. The anti-hero, Kullervo, who at this point in the narrative is a small child who is rebelling against his evil uncle who ripped him away from his parents and probably murdered them. Although they turn up later, but apparently they were murdered. It's the trouble when you take lots of little folk poems and you put them together and you make a narrative. Sometimes it doesn't really hold water. But this is 3 poems about Kullervo as a young boy. And the first one is called Killing Kullervo. So you can guess what the next 2 are called. Killing Kullervo. They took the boy to drown in the sea, sealed in a barrel, shut in a leaky vessel. When the sun dipped down, it was bobbing, all but sunk beneath the waves. On the 3rd day, they returned to fish out the body, claim their reward. But the boy was sitting on the barrel, blue stockings astride the keg, a small copper rod in his hands, a red silken line in the sea, a pile of fish in front of him, with a wide smile on his lips. He was measuring out the ocean with a ladle to measure the sea. Killing Kullervo again. If you won't drown, they reasoned, he'll burn. So they placed him on a pyre piled around with good dry wood. They chose branches with resinous sap to catch the sparks and feed the fire. For 3 days the flames roared. For 3 nights it lit up the dark. When they climbed to the mound of embers, they found the boy Kullervo. He was playing with an iron rake, collecting charcoal from the ash, a wide smile upon his lips, and not a curl out of place on his head. And killing Kullervo for the last time. They hung a noose around his neck and lynched him from a pine tree. Dangling from a sturdy branch, they watched until he ceased to kick, waited all day as he swayed in the wind. The next day, they watched as he hung in the sky and ravens pecked at his flesh. On the 3rd day, when they came for him, the tree was transformed from base to tip, decorated and carved with designs of warfare, death, and battlegrounds. Kullervo was holding the knife, a wide smile upon his lips, and a challenge in his eyes.
Quite resilient then, Nick, wasn't he?
He was a little bit.
It kind of Narani's poem about the graveyard. It kind of had kind of that eerie feeling to it.
Yeah, it was kind of that influenced me to read those.
So very good. Yeah, thank you.
It reminds me a little bit of the Candide, where the characters would all be cut into 1,000 pieces, and by the next chapter they'd be alive, and everything would be for the best in the best of all possible worlds, of course.
Right. It's like the American Comedian, and someone said, "May I join you?" He said, "Why am I coming apart?" I'm sorry about that. Right.
The guy goes to the doctor and says, "Doctor, I feel like a pair of curtains," and the doctor says, "Pull yourself together, man."
Yeah, the old ones are the best. Peter, you got anything for us, please?
Well, going to read a couple of poems by Thomas Hardy.
All right. Nice.
Surprising poems, actually. I found this one's called 1967. It was written in 1867. So 1967. In 5 score summers, all new eyes, new minds, new modes, new falls, new whys, new woes to weep, new joys to prize, with nothing left of me and you in that live century's vivid view, beyond a pinch of dust or two. A century which, if not sublime, will show, I doubt not, at its prime a scope above this blinkered time. Yet what to me, how far above? For I would only ask thereof that thy worm should be my worm, love. And The Children and Sir Nameless. Sir Nameless, once of Athelhall, declared, "These wretched children romping in my park trample the herbage till the soil is bared, and yap and yell from early morn till dark. Go keep them harnessed to their set routines. Thank God I've none to hasten my decay. For green remembrance there are better means than offspring who but wish their sires away." Sir Nameless of that mansion said anon, "To be perpetuate for my mightiness, sculpture must image me when I am gone." He forthwith summoned carvers there express to shape a figure stretching 7 odd feet, for he was tall, in alabaster stone, with shield and crest and casque and sword complete. When done, a statelier work was never known. 300 years hied, church restorers came, and no one of his lineage being traced, they thought an effigy so large in frame best fitted for the floor. There it was placed under the seats for school children, and they kicked out his name and hobnailed off his nose, and as they yawn through sermon time, they say, "Who was this old stone man beneath our toes?"
As you say, surprising, Peter.
Yes,
You know.
different to normal talks.
Absolutely. Yeah, he usually gives us a big dose of sadness, doesn't he? But it's very good.
Well,
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Right. I've got a couple, and I've got one that I found. I found, and it actually touched me. So I'll read that later. This one is called "The Rat of Our Soul." Someone said writing poems were rats of the soul. I understood what that poet really meant. The feelings that gnaw to get out through a hole, all the words to which one must give vent. Just like vermin, those words need to breed, to spread, to take over the world, as if every letter was actually a seed of all the emotions once secretly held, arranged in order to make scampering feet, spreading their meanings out far and wide, sometimes too clumsy, sometimes too neat, or too crude when there's nothing to hide. Critics may act to exterminate all that thought beyond the pale, but poems will find their place and fate, and clever rats are not born to fail. They'll jump the sinking ship of prudery, they'll deflate the pompous politician by inventing lines of utmost rudery against popular science and superstition. So yes, indeed, poems are like the rodent, not always healthy, but often cogent. That's that one. And a little love poem, Petals and Sunsets. I smile at red rose petals and think of sunsets. I hear summer breeze stir the leaves and think of waves on the sand. I see beauty in patterns of clouds and I think of you. So that's that one. And this is the poem that I found quite moving. It's called Dinosaur. It connects with me, this one, somehow. It's by someone called Phil Knight. Dinosaur. I am a dinosaur. I see a comet in a sky of fire. But I still believe in public transport, the NHS, the public sector, and council housing. I say tax the rich and make them pay. The comet now fills the sky, but I am a dinosaur. I've always been a dinosaur, and I have been a fellow traveller with other dinosaurs who have fought against poverty, fascism, injustice, and oppression. My grandfather was a dinosaur. My father was a dinosaur, and I am a dinosaur. I say feed the hungry, house the homeless, make Earth a paradise. I'm a dinosaur, and I welcome the refugees from the comet that has turned day to night. Even though the tectonic plates move beneath my feet, I stand my ground. And through 100-mile-an-hour winds, I still bellow with my dinosaur tongue, because extinction is not an option. Right, that's it for now. We zoomed through the first half, so we've got like 10, 15 minutes to chat if you want.
Jim might be joining us very shortly.
Oh, sounds good. He'll cheer us all up, won't he? Jim's an amazing poet. I love Jim's poems. Makes me smile. Usually. Sometimes he writes kind of sad ones.
I liked your rats gnawing to get out of the soul.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think poetry, it can say so much. That's why I like Aaron's stuff. I thought he said a lot in those poems, and lots of references. And I was thinking of Trump and people like that, and all the injustices in the world. Yeah.
Whenever I used to go into Waitrose in Holborn, I used to cover up the Spectator or whichever magazine had his cartoon on it. Just thought let a few people suffer less.
Yeah.
Thank you. If I was one of those people, I'm grateful.
George, what was the name of the writer of somebody Knight?
Oh, Phil Knight, John.
Who?
His name was. Hang on, get my glasses. My eyes are terrible now. It was Paul Knight. The dinosaur one was. Oh, Phil Knight. Phil, Phil, Phil Knight, with a K. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's in a book of poetry competition that. So I'm not sure they're all well known. Some are, like Raymond Antrobus, I've heard of, and some of them I've heard of them in here. Yeah. Yeah.
We've got somebody called Jim.
Yeah, so I'll just put okay it, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tick. Yeah, okay. Right, so I've got George's pad with a line through it. What do you want me to read something or?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Jim. Yes. We've all read in the first half, so just
right.
That's we're all welcoming you, and
Yeah.
we've got a couple of new poets who are new to the Zoom meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we can chat afterwards when you've done your little bit.
Okay, so I'll get my coffee. I wrote a poem a long time ago, actually, called Schopenhauer. And it was based on personal experience. And having read it through, I realized it actually was what I'd done was subliminally. I'd actually used the rhythm and whatever of a well-known Methodist hymn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read my poem out, and I'm going to read out the Methodist hymn, which I can hardly read my own writing, but I'll do that. Okay. So this is the song. It's a song, but I'll read it as a poem. Oh, Barnsley, be my sepulchre. My flesh will soon run dry. Your factory sirens scream with pain. Your windows have gone blind. I see you from a passing train beneath a shroud of dust. You make me think of bygone days and a girl I used to love. She talked throughout the winter nights of singers and their songs. Well, I read books by Schopenhauer. How could I be so wrong? Oh, Schopenhauer's not for her. I found that to my cost. But I can't blame philosophy for everything I lost. Last spring I learnt she'd passed away. An unsent letter said she thought I was too serious when we were warm in bed. Yes, every Jack must have his Jill, as Schopenhauer said. But what man reads philosophy when he is warm in bed? So Barnsley be my sepulchre until the day I die. You make me think of bygone days and the girl I left behind. Now, having read that, what I did, I realized afterwards that it's based on a song called There Is a Green Hill Far Away by Mrs. Cecil Frances Alexander. I've written the lyrics out in my own hand, so I'll probably muff up the reading of them. But right, so I'll just show you how it goes. Like where I'll read the poem through and then point out where. Oh no, I'll tell you what. I'll just go over just the first verse and just. O Barnsley be my sepulchre. 8. There is a green hill far away. 8. My flesh will soon run dry. 6. With outside a city wall. 6. Your factory sirens scream with pain. 8. Where our dear Lord was crucified. 8. Your windows have gone blind. He died to save us all. So it reflects, the form. It also reflects the feeling as well. Actually, it's got the same kind of feeling, although musically it would be a lot different. So I found this absolutely fascinating. Actually, I was at one time a member of the Church of England, Anglican Church. And the vicar used to always give a hard time to all the widows and anybody who was a bit immoral. And he was actually known to have twice gone to the public highways, pulled down his trousers and flashed his genitals at the passing cars. And everybody knew this, but nobody commented upon that. And I thought, well, this is a bit off. So this is one of the reasons why I decided I'd leave, and I went to a Methodist chapel nearby, because basically they had a film club, and I could play table tennis. The religion didn't come really into it that much, so I went there, and I came across this song, "There is a green hill far away," and that's where it was. I've no real Christian ideas, but I do like the Christianity without all the torture and whatever. Anyhow, so this is the song which I much admired. There is a green hill far away, without a city wall, where our dear Lord was crucified. He died to save us all. Oh, dearly, dearly has he loved, and died our sins to bear. We trust in his redeeming blood, and life eternal share. We may not know, we cannot tell, what pains he had to bear, but we believe it was for us he hung and suffered there. He died that we might be forgiven. He died to make us good, that we might from our sins be freed, saved by his precious blood. There was no other good enough to pay the price of sin. He only could divine life give, and dwell himself within. And I thought, a really good poem. I'm just talking a little bit about religion, etc. I'm not religious, but I do actually, as I say, I like religion. And the thing about Methodism, it's almost like, it's like all the good things about religion with none of the hellfire and damnation and stuff like that. So this is why I was quite fond of this. Anyhow, that's that poem out of the way. I'll read another one sometime later. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for listening.
Jim, thank you very much. Bit of your personal development history there. Yeah. I was waiting for you to sing it to the tune of there.
Yeah, I'll sing it if you want.
Go on then. There is a green hill far away.
No, I prefer to read. Oh, Barnsley be my sepulchre, my flesh will soon run dry. Your factory sirens scream with pain, your windows have gone blind. I see you from a passing train, beneath a shroud of dust. You make me think of bygone days and a girl I used to love. She talked throughout the winter nights of singers and their songs. Well, I read books by Schopenhauer. How could I be so wrong? How could I be so wrong? Oh, Schopenhauer was not for her. I found that to my cost. But I can't blame philosophy for everything I lost. No, I can't blame philosophy for everything I lost. Last spring I learned she'd passed away. An unsent letter said she thought I was too serious when we were warm in bed. And if you don't felt the pain of love, there's no more to be said. Yes, every Jack must have his due, as Schopenhauer said. But what man reads philosophy when he is warm in bed? So Barnsley be my sepulchre until the day I die. You make me think of bygone days and a girl I left behind. And that actually, I actually sent this a version of this to this songwriting competition. It actually got into the final, but what it had was that it had a kind of chorus at the end, where it was like a kind of little refrain. So it was less of a straightforward read down. I'll read out, since you mentioned it.
Yeah, that poem's caused me a lot of trouble over the years, because every time somebody mentions Barnsley, I go, "Oh, Barnsley is my sepulchre," and they give me very odd looks.
Yeah, I was not happy. I found it a nice-ish place, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
This poem is I'll read it in case you've not read it before. There is a green hill far. There is a green hill far away. If I read it through to you, memory's gone. Have I just read it to you before?
You just read it to us before, Jim.
Yeah.
We all do this these days. I do the same.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just try singing a little bit. I don't think I can do. There is a green hill far away, without a city wall, where our dear Lord was crucified. He died to save us all. Oh, dearly, dearly has he loved, and died our sins to bear. We trust in his redeeming blood, as life and life eternal share. I think I'll stop there, actually. And thanks a lot, actually, for sort of hearing me out and whatever. I mean, what I might do, actually, is there's a Methodist centre somewhere near here, and I might go and see them and just explain where I stand in all this. The thing is, although I don't actually believe in hereafter and all that sort of thing, I'm very sympathetic. I think it actually is a religion of personal virtue, whereas the others are about damnation, dealing with your demons and exorcising yourself of this, that, and the other. And Methodism isn't basically like that, really. In essence, it's just about being a good person and, you know, being happy and enjoying life. And that's why I like it. But I could be wrong. It could be a little bit more different to that. But yeah, that's how I saw it anyhow.
Well, thank you, Jim.
What I like about Buddhism as well.
Yeah.
What I like about Buddhism is it's about being a person and how you relate to the world. Yeah,
Buddhism seemed to me okay.
Well, I think the essence of most religions is pure and good, but it's just people corrupt them, and the way they act is not according to the values.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, you have like Jesus the prophet and all these people who Jesus would turn in his grave if he saw what was happening to these holy thou, damnation, crucifixion, you know, mass slaughter, this, that, and the other. It's just no. It's just,
but I think your Barnsley poem was amply. It was good when you sung it. Well, it was good without you singing it, but when you sung it, it was it added something to it. So thanks for that, Jim.
Yeah. Okay. I might.
I've always loved that poem. It's lovely.
I mean, sometime in the future, I might bring it along and bring because it's got little choruses which went with it and all that sort of thing.
Right.
Sometime in the future, though. Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot for listening.
Right. Okay, Jim. Right. So we've reached a natural hiatus, halfway through.
Hiatus.
So it's just about 3 minutes to 9. Steve, is that right? 3 minutes to 9 in the other way. He's muted. He can't contradict me. He's muted.
4 minutes.
4 minutes, right? Okay. Well, we're very fast up here in North Yorkshire, so you know.
I don't see his picture.
What, Nick's? Whose picture?
Who you mentioned? Somebody. I thought it was somebody who was normally here, but isn't.
Oh, Steve! You can't see Steve.
Yeah, is Steve here?
Yeah, Steve's here. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Next to George.
Got to press that.
George.
There's an
you-
F everywhere.
Oh, wait, you must, there's a little arrow pointing at the side. If I press on this arrow, maybe you will appear, or maybe the whole thing will break down. Just press it. Nick, oh yeah, there's Nick, Peter, Steve,
Aaron.
Naranya.
Narayani.
Narayani.
It's like there's nobody, I can't get any of the others now.
John. You get John?
Yeah, I don't see them. Yeah,
Oh.
John's gone off.
There are various views, aren't there? That you may be on one sort of
New
view.
gallery.
I'm on a green hill far away. I'm too far away.
Oh, you're down there, right?
He's been sent to Coventry.
Right. Oh well.
So, yeah, there's, as you say, there is gallery. You press, there should be something marked gallery on your screen. If you press that, you should get 8 images come up.
Gallery. Where's gallery?
Well, it should be a little icon of little heads, sort of thing. Have you got that? No.
I've got mute, stop video, participants, chat.
Participants.
Participants. Is that where it should be? It says 8.
Yes.
So if I press
But
that,
Well, that just gives the.
That is the
No,
names.
that's not it.
I think
No.
there's one called View.
View. Yeah.
View.
I've got share screen.
Oh,
No.
I've got views at the
Companion.
top, isn't it? Yeah.
On the top right, usually, I think.
I've
Yes.
got more. I've got
Right. So Anne's haiku, which she wrote today, when she was out in London and came back, and she found on the journey home, she found it affected by the heat, woolly head, upset gut, indolence, bad mobility, and breathless. And the haiku is, I breathed down my front. The air from there was cooler than the air outside.
Probably true, Peter.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, London air is not good in the heat wave, is it? It's kind of
No.
all sorts of air strange stuff in it. Very good. Okay, so where do we go? Narayani, can we start with you? You
Yeah.
first? Okay.
I'll do a couple now. One is kind of at the beginning of a relationship, and one is kind of looking back, I guess, almost. So, inclining figures. At an innocuous table in the crypt over banana cake and coffee, his a chocolate-dusted cappuccino, hers a latte revised from flat white. That, once stirred, invoked a Modigliani virgin in the light layer of froth. A group of conjoined ice cubes reclined across the rim of her glass to form a sculpture, a melding of Epstein's Jacob upheld by his angel and Moore's reclining figure intoning heavenward. It began to melt at varying rates to form new transitory structures that shape-shifted from different perspectives. Her gaze flitted from froth to ice. Meanwhile, he, proposing a change to future itineraries, slid out a metal pin and placed it on her plate. Being merely a metaphorical grenade, she ignored the frozen time and continued to intake forkfuls of cake between snapping images of the artworks to digest later. In the night, the ice angel appeared to her in a dream and set time ticking to start a slow motion showreel of snapshots. Friendships fragmented into ice shrapnel, faces repeatedly contorted accusations spewed at slow speed. But what if there's another set of scenes forming in the meltdown, she protested. What if when the ice melts, the reclining figure has a companion? Perhaps they need ice to quell the volcano erupting between them, and only the dead are made of stone. Thank you. And the next one is late autumn lunchtime. On a bench in Regent's Park by the water, a man and woman talk, perhaps acquaintances. An uncomfortable distance sits between them. A heron unfurls its fine neck and eyes them. Folds of tourists and office workers meander by. A dried leaf fights its way to the man's chest, almost dead, curled up like a gnarled hand. He offers it. She sees a ladybird in its palm and sets it down to preserve the insect's refuge. A pair of Canadian geese fly dangerously close overhead. The two duck as the birds utter their remonstrations. Come closer, come here, let me twine my neck with yours. Thank you.
That's lovely, Narani. Lovely. Very nice. Some lovely descriptive phrases in there. It's really good. I see Nick was sending you love hearts when you're reading that.
Oh, thank you.
You're a bit flashy, Nick.
They were ladybirds.
They were ladybirds.
yes.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. Okay.
It's not till the second meeting I send people love hearts.
Right.
Very respectful.
Very good. Aaron, we're ready for you. If you've got any more for us, please.
Thanks very much. Thanks for the second time here. Says what gives me
Thank you.
there we go. 16th of March. Human puppet body, foodstuff shaped head. I repeat, human puppet body, foodstuff shaped head. Incident reported at a convention event. Officers attended a raving man destroying props of a children's program, yelling at the top of his lungs, "Oh, nobody remembers advertisements. It's against pitch dark background, similar body stocking operated, costumes with puppet heads, two in conversation. Kids run screaming if they'd face them. Heads made of a flavour, already put into own mouth, always on, smaller of. The punchline, the giant puppet eats them." A couple of parents intervened and ended up injured between knees. It took a taser, but to get clear shot voiceover actress taken hostage. Click. The cameras have been switched off. Mismanagement of maintenance. Click. In his statement, couplet mentioned how later ad campaigns, click, had one creature skydiving, click. Human puppet body, foodstuff shaped head. The insurers are in contact. Most of the press looking away. Psychiatric evaluation has to say, are they here right now in their room? Was they by Palfston doing? Is your injection? Watch television somewhere along to vacate you soon. On the screen in the room with him, the creatures jumped out from the plasma screen, advancing. We told you, only you noticing. Suspect found dead with cameras disconnected. Earlier this month in February this year, one of my influences, my favourite British musician, Mike Ratledge, a soft machine, died. I wrote 10 sentences that I knew were facts about Mike Ratledge, and I wrote the end. And for the 10 sentences, I just picked out words, randomly Joe Burrows, Ratledge, lectures, fuzz and forms, trio class philosophy, born of turn on application exposed, wildly must progression taught, keyboard favoured, never too late, teacher ends for dominant use, down to career with piano, Eventually misunderstanding bass higher, keyboard scouse, instrumental shouting, bands classes nearer jazz interpreting, scouse woman shouting to Chloe brought home. First time stoned, listening to volume 1, 2. Kept thinking Mike, stop motion. Incredible Hulk moves without legs, hover float shoes. Took shortcut, paint dribbled at now green as Hulk. Levitating to his own front door. Everything's safe. When just open his eyes. And that's my all. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed you. I've been wounded by you calling me beast, but that's my. It's to say I'm a lot more happy about.
Well, it's pretty unique, Aaron. It's a kind of combination of performance poetry and beat poetry. Lovely.
Yeah, I mean, I have the impression that if this was actually a radio and I didn't see you, I'd be more interested, funnily enough. Be more interested because the oddity would sort of come out. When you're there hamming it up a little bit, it's overdoing it because the words themselves and the tone are got enough force. You see what I mean? You'd be really good on the radio. Not to be rude. Hope.
I actually classify brutes you all.
Well, I just like the linkage, the stream. You suddenly you go into Scouse women and stuff like that, and it's
Yeah, I mean, you could think actually of writing stuff like this for somebody else who will actually read your stuff out on stage.
Oh,
that's a definite thought for writing for the stage. Just a suggestion.
There's a set of, because I started 94. There's so many words. I've written recently that, but there's just so many words, and plus I like looking at the words because it just takes away when I in public. The expressions are just like, that does get it, but I'm not like sort of trying to win them over. It's not. I would say, they're always looking for the people's poem. The people.
Thanks, Aaron. It's kind of Allen Ginsberg style in a way, picking up things associating things you don't normally associate and a stream of them.
All right.
Good.
You could have it both ways. So you could actually write as you write and have other people performing your work in a certain way, and it would sort of be really actually quite fascinating, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to cross over to another Liverpudlian. Steve, you're muted.
Going to unmute. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to continue with the experiment without echo this time. So I just want to give Galatea one more chance to read a poem. This poem is, again, another translation of Ovid. It's The Goddess Pallas Beats Arachne. For those who don't know the story, Arachne was a humble weaver who was better than the goddess Pallas at weaving, but Pallas didn't believe that. So challenged to a duel, the goddess lost, and Arachne lost as well because she got beaten and turned into a spider. So let's just play this. I may.
The goddess Pallas beats Arachne. My divinity affronted stands and calls aloud for justice by these hands, and on Arachne bends my vengeful mind. Arachne at the loom so skilled, but she, the bitch, refused to yield. Of mean descent, achieving fame, and drawn by art, the people came to watch her weave her magic tricks. Nor would the weaving please so much as watching her beguiling touch. The shapeless wool in orbits wound, quick motion turned the spindle round, a pencil drew a sweet design, my influence in every line. Proud girl ignores, defies, disowns my godlike majesty each hour, shuns my aid, denies my power. Pallas, she exclaims, compete, and if you conquer, choose my fate. In witch's form disguised with aging face, I gave the foolish girl some sound advice. Young maid, attend, nor stubbornly despise the admonitions of the old and wise, and to the goddess Pallas pray forgiveness. Foolish, faithless, fickle, fiendish mistress, willful, wanton, woe-begotten woman. Passion fired and gliding shuttle stayed, and darting vengeance with an angry look, to me, though in disguise, she sternly spoke. Thou doting thing, whose idle babbling tongue too well reveals the plague of living long, know I despise your counsel, and am still a woman ever wedded to my will, and if the skilful goddess better knows, let her accept the trial I propose. And so I did, to her eternal fate, and undisguised I meet her face to face. Straight to the posts appointed we repair, and fix our threaded looms with equal care. Around the solid beam the webs are tied, while hollow canes the parting warp divides. With nimble flights the flying shuttles play, the threads united by the toothy slay. Thus both our mantles button to our breast, our skilful fingers ply with willing haste, and work with pleasure as it cheers the eye, with bold Phoenician purple dye, or intermixing shades with light, our hues and tones and lines unite, as when in showers sunny rays, the mighty rainbow heaven plays, from where 1,000 colours rise, whose fine transitions fool the eyes. I, passionately moved, with envy saw her weaving talent overtaking mine. No longer tolerating this affront, no more my battered patience will endure, a wooden shuttle in my hand I took, and more than once Arachne's forehead struck, and from the beam her injured person hung. I stopped, and pitying her wretched state, at once prevented and pronounced her fate. Live on, vile wretch, suspended for all time, to feel my vengeance and detest your crime. Then, leaving here, I sprinkled her with juice which leaves of baleful aconite produce. Touched by the poison drug, her flowing hair fell to the ground and left her temples bare. Her normal features vanished from their place, her body lessened, most of all her face. Her slender fingers, hanging on each side, 8 spindly jointed hairy legs supplied. A spider's bag she gets from where she gives a thread, and still by constant weaving lives. A leggy sort, approaching 40, said she liked my microphone, and told me later, at a party, she's a weaving operator, spider to my common fly. Come on inside my wicked web, my lovely and immortal web, and by tomorrow, if you're lucky, you'll be absolutely dead, while I'll be living. That's a laugh. Can living ever be the life of endless weaving endless webs, a punishment for bold presumption? Foolish mortals, know your place, downtrodden disaffected members of the restless human race, unless the goddess Pallas takes offense at your impertinence, and turns you into something lesser, burdens you with excess baggage, carried hither, thither, drifter, void of sight except to see the food before your failing eyes, and flies avoid you if they can, and irritate instead the man who saunters past oblivious to your innocuous exertions. Come inside my wicked web, my fatal, fickle, fiendish web. In spider's form I weave my endless, friendless, woe-begotten web. I was a headstrong, God-forsaken, feisty, ill-advised ingrate, until I challenged Pallas, great Athena of Olympus. Now I live a life, or so they say, as something weaker, something meaner.
Thank you,
Thanks
Steve.
for listening.
Yeah.
Well, that works. That works a lot better for me because it was,
Yeah.
you know, it gripped me, and to explain in such a lyrical way, you know, something that's quite tricky. It's a lovely piece of work, that.
Yeah, it almost got me. Actually, it's a lot better. The voice is a beautiful voice. The only thing she doesn't convey is emotion. She's reading nicely and clearly and whatever, but she's not got the emotion. So you want to find, say, thank you very much. you know, it's wonderful. But you try and find somebody who does what she does, but knows how to convey emotions.
Yeah,
in-
and that's the thing, because there's a number of voices available, and some
right.
of them, it's Gwyneth Paltrow voice or this or that. So I wanted to find a voice that was almost half human and half engine,
mechanical.
half robot.
Yeah.
And I wanted,
Right.
because I wanted a voice that was not devoid of emotion, but with hardly any emotion. Because I'm very contrarian. Often when poets read, they put emotion in it. I mean, I thought there were sections. There was one line when she said, "I passionately moved," and I felt there was emotion there. To try and get emotion out of kind of a semi-robot, is a bit of a hobby of mine. Whether it's an illusion on my part when you listen to it, it's all
Yeah,
very
I mean-
flat. But I hear nuance in it, but maybe you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you say. It's just that I think you maybe could compromise and just get somebody to read with this nice voice, actually with a certain amount of feeling which is appropriate to the context, and that would be really good.
I think that
I like the
human
double
voice
point.
could vary the pace as well at times. I think that.
Right.
But there were some great lines in there. I mean, you'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
absolutely dead and flies avoid you while they can.
I like the double play with Webb.
Sorry.
And I like the double play with Webb and having a kind of AI voice
Yeah.
talking about being trapped in webs, and it just kind of resonated on a different level.
Yeah.
Gave that different aspect to it as well. It's nice.
I think an actressy voice would be. I would prefer an actressy voice. Which is whatever.
Yeah.
Let's say one of more actressy, because I think it has got lots of feelings and emotions which you sort of tend to hide or run away from. And I think if we could express it, I'd seriously think about doing that.
I think tonight's about different ways of listening, though, and that is quite a novel way of listening, because it's so neutral that you just what you're getting is the words, and you can.
Yes.
It's almost like reading the words, but
Does it work? Does it work? I mean, does it? Or would another way be a little bit better? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think that with these narrative poems, I'm not sure whether it works. Whereas, I've written poems a bit like Aaron, which are very fragmented, and I think that the monotone voice works there. Because I've always, when I turn up drunk in London Bridge at kind of 10 o'clock and there's announcements coming over, I always imagined those announcements reading my poetry and, coming in and out of focus. So I wanted that kind of monotone voice. It's still got to work. That's the thing. It's still got to work.
Well, there was a whole tradition of alternative poetry in Liverpool, wasn't there? So you two are carrying it on.
Yeah, how alternative it was is a moot point. Yeah,
I'd love to get your poem and just give it to some sort of actress and just say, do this, and just see what it was like, and then play it back to you, and just to see whether you thought it was better.
Anyway, we need to move on a little bit. I'll just
sorry. Thanks for listening. Anyway,
yeah, that's great. So I'm going to John in Coventry. Hi, John.
I thought that AI was A+. Go to the top of the class, but don't bang your head on the ceiling when you get there. Right, I worked my way through various well-known poets and tend to write poems about something they've written and disagreeing with what they put in their poems. There's this bloke from near Swansea, a chap called Dylan Thomas, who wrote something about do not go gentle into that good night, rage against the dying of the light, and all that. So this is called Do, Dylan, do. Do go gentle into your good night. Rage not against switching off the light. How not again, O sunrise of your father's wife, as you approach the sunset seconds of your life, its minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, etc., all spun, and like these knitted poems, words completed, done. When I was at a little school, when I was a schoolboy in Dulwich, one of my English teacher, Alistair Aston, used to run monthly poetry readings at the Crown and Greyhound pub in Dulwich. And I used to go to all those. And we had, this was in the late 50s, throughout the 60s and early 70s. And he wrote a poem that I very much, I think is the best thing he ever wrote. This is by Alistair Aston, A Striking Old Man. When grandfather first came to us, we did not know how old he was, nor how reliable. Regular as clockwork, he wound up our day, and simply by his presence reminded us the things we had not done. Not that he ever complained, and we liked him for that. They had got tired of him at the other house, and so he arrived unceremoniously one afternoon in a van. A few things were there that were his were in a case. They said he'd been too much trouble. He hardly fitted their way of life. We came to love him. On his face, you could see what time had done, and quite a lot at a defeated time. Sometimes his secrets were unlocked, and then we could see right through to the frailty and simplicity of something that had gone on working through so many changes. His voice was occasionally sharp, but we knew he was just run down, so we would make allowances. Adjustment was easy. For much of the day, he was quiet. We heard him mostly at night, breathing throughout the house in a satisfied, old-fashioned way. When visitors came, he was good. We saw them admiring his hands. He had a certain veneer. In time, he was part of our lives. The children lived by his looks. He made us all feel at home. And that's the grandfather.
That's a lovely valedictory poem anyway. Yeah. Was that written long ago, John, or recently?
This was, that was written, I think, in the early 60s.
It's a lovely poem. It's very nice.
And then when I managed to get it off him when I was at college,
Right.
and when I was editing the college
Right.
writing
Very,
book.
very good. Have you got another one for us, or you? We've got plenty of time.
Oh no! What somebody mentioned was it Waitrose earlier?
Yes.
Right. Well, I work part-time on the checkouts at Sainsbury's, the other side of the till. I'm the customer service person, and this is absolutely true. This is absolutely true. What happened last week at the checkouts? There were only two in my queue, and I was serving the first customer, and asked the end, "Do you have a Nectar card?" "No," she said. "Oh well, does anybody else have one? If they use theirs, they get the points and you get any reductions. It's a win-win situation." "My ice cream's starting to melt. Hurry up." The voice from the other customer in the queue. I took a deep breath and said nothing. I kept looking at my first customer, raised my eyes, didn't say a word, kept my gob shut. The first customer looked at me, smiled, and said, deliberately loud enough for everybody to hear, "No, I'd rather pay the full price than ask that fucking misery to borrow her card." Wow. Check out, checkmate.
Oh, nice. Well recounted.
I was thinking it, but if I'd said that, I'd been fired on the spot. It was
Yes.
brilliant.
It reminds me, my late wife went into Purley Way Sainsbury's, and top of her voice, she went to this young man and said, "Excuse me, where are your nuts?" And he just creased up, you know. And everyone creased up around her. She didn't know, you know, what she'd said. Anyway, thank you, John. Thank you, John, to bring the smile. Can we go to Nick then, please?
Yeah. John's comment about reflecting on other poets and responding to their poems reminded me of this poem by Raymond Antrobus, I think it was mentioned earlier. I can't remember who mentioned him, but somebody did.
Me.
All right. Raymond Antrobus is a deaf poet, and he responded to Deaf School by Ted Hughes. He started by reprinting it, but he did redact a few words that he disagreed with. And I totally agree with Raymond on this, actually. That poem is utterly worthless. And the following it, he wrote, after reading Deaf School by the Mississippi River. No one wise calls the river unaware or simple pools. No one wise says it lacks a dimension. No one wise says its body is removed from the vibration of air. The river is a quiet breath taker, gargling mud. Ted is alert and simple. Ted lacked a subtle wavering aura of sound and responses to sound. Ted lived through his eyes, but I, the colossal currents from the bridge, I, riverboats ghosting a geography of fog. Mississippi means big river, named by French colonizers. The natives laughed at their arrogant maps, conquering wind and marking mist. The mouth of the river laughs. A man in a wetsuit emerges, pulls misty goggles over his head. Couldn't see a thing, he breathes heavily. My face was in darkness. No one heard him. The river drowned him out. It's quite a good put down if you want to read the original, but I can't imagine why anyone would, to be honest. It's pretty it's a pretty horrid poem.
Did you write anything useful?
Sorry?
Did Ted Hughes write anything useful?
He wrote the best description of the eye of a calf I've ever read, about the eye, just an eye of a calf, and it was just a beautiful poem.
Yeah. Thought Fox is okay.
The eyes.
Yeah, not a lot, to be honest. But yeah, I've got my new pamphlet coming out. Any of you who are in range of South London next Friday are very welcome at Beckenham Bookshop at 6:30. But I thought I'd read a couple of these. But first, they are coming for your bodies. They will make you do what they decree. They will make you breed their babies, but first they take away your rights. They will fill the world with unloved children, the progeny of rapists, incest, and hate. They will use them as soldiers, abuse them as slaves, but first they take away your rights. They will say who you can marry, if you are still worthy to marry at all. They will trample on your health care, but first they take away your rights. They will give you syphilis. They will give you guns, They will drive you to suicide. But first, they take away your rights. They will deny you happiness. They will deny you love. They will deny you everything. But first, they take away your rights. And this is the view from my mother's bed. The old man in the dressing gown shuffles to the middle of the ward, where he stops and squats, delivering his stinking reward for the overstretched nurses who can't give him time, for this confusion of a life that fails a man so past his prime, for burdening his children in their turn overworked and poor, for being as unloved and unwanted as his feces on the floor.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a true story. Never mind.
The
I'll
excremental
put-
poet.
Sorry?
The excremental poet.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of you when I was writing this collection. I'll finish with Just Fine. I need a poem that's sugar-coated, that hides away any little dark intent, that welcomes in the careless reader or the careful reader just the same. Approachable, accessible, the way your gran is always pleased to see you, and invites you in to talk to her, despite her mishearing almost every word you've ever said. So sit down and take the load off. Let me pour a cup of tea and tell me how your day has been. Oh, me, I'm fine, you know. My days need no explanation. I read a bit. I've learned to knit. I'm keeping everything together.
Thanks a lot. Some fantastic poetry there, Nick. Really good. Really, really good. Can you tell everyone where what the title of your pamphlet is and how they can acquire it?
It is The God of Coffee Shops and Kindness.
Yeah.
You could ask me to send you a copy, but I've only got the one at the moment. It's available from Powell Press.
Oh, Powell. Okay, yeah.
And it will probably be on that Bezos platform at some point.
It's
Give
best
you
to
money
buy
to
from,
Amazon if you want.
best to buy it from Powell Direct if you can, because they're very, very good. I mean, they do pick up a lot of issues around unfairness in the world and the environment. Camilla Reeves is the editor, and she's brilliant. So Powell Press, you find it on the internet, and The God of Shops and Kindness. Thank you, Nick. It's really, really good. I was very moved with them, actually. It's lovely poetry. I don't know if anyone else felt that way, but I did. Nick.
Well, somebody else did as well, because they told me.
Peter's not.
There are two of you.
Yes, you got your fans. Well, we're going to go to Jim now. Jim, have you got something for us, please? You're muted.
Yes,
That's it.
I'm
Okay.
muted. Yeah. What I did then was I read a couple of poems which are by what I call fiddler poems.
Okay.
I was impressed with this thing, statesman, fiddler, and buffoon, and that was the fiddler. Fiddler, I mean, by means of it, I feel sentimentalist. I'm going to do buffoon next. Sorry. Right. The first buffoon poem. It's called An Actor on the Couch. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Sigmund Freud. As a forlorn Hamlet, I shake so much to see my father's ghost. I forget my lines, take out a hanky and blow my nose. And the audience murmur, ah, erotic symbolism, I suppose. As an Irish tramp, I call out, Gordo, Surveyor, I watch capture. Why didn't you come sooner? When I leave the stage, do not return. And the audience cry out, actually, this is a huge improvement. As a tormented Oedipus, I say, I know exactly who you are, Dad, and soon you'll be dead. But first tell me this, is mother any good in bed? And the audience whisper, this chap's not quite right in the head. Finally, as a back end of a pantomime horse, I declaim, I'm all alone in the dark and lost in these foul clouds of remorse, but surely there's more to my life than this. And the audience start to yell, oh no, there isn't. Oh yes, there is. The next poem is called Finale Time at the Comedy Club. The enchanted domain of Madame Fifi, plump and attractive female comic, who Circe-like pleases porcine males with a girlish dirty talk of erections failed or otherwise, and dubious tales of men's disgraceful self-serving ineptitude with regard to la copulation. She mocks their dreams of a dominatrix equipped with various punitive devices, plus talcum powder, sweet stimulations of riding crops, and restraints of various severity. With the real bad boys ejected for boorishness and gross indecency, she is safe to wag admonishing finger. You naughty men are such branleurs, she announces. But fortunately for you, we women have been endowed with certain coping strategies. With this, she snatches away a blonde wig and much padded bra to reveal a chest dark and defiantly hirsute. Delirious applause breaks out like a rash. Branleur, by the way, is a French for self-abuser. And I think, oh yeah, I'll just read one if there's time. A quick one. It's called Gladiators, Entry of the Gladiators. I'll probably screw this up, it's all written in my longhand. You know, the gladiators come da 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 da. An annoyance of poets, a clairvoyance of poets, an occasionally leaping and joyous of poets, a manic of poets, a panic of poets, a sometimes floundering Titanic of poets. Can't read my writing. An erratic of poets, a fanatic of poets, a dreaming, scheming, ecstatic of poets, a herd of poets, an absurd of poets. Do you really need this word of poets? Platoons of poets, buffoons of poets, a howling, prowling, full moon of poets, an April Fool of poets, a motley crew of poets, a do as I say and not as I do of poets, a passe of poets, a hip hooray of poets. Why not let your demons come out and play of poets? A remorse of poets, a spent force of poets, a my kingdom for a horse of poets, a better by far of poets, a coup de grace of poets, a where, oh where, oh where is my shining star of poets? Oh, and that was Entry of the Gladiators, but there's such a thing as a gladiatrice, and they're basically, they used to exorcise demons from women, etc. So they do this kind of thing, and it does actually exist, the gladiatrice thing. A good advice of poets, a nice of poets, a dreaming confetti and rice of poets, a chorus of poets, a thesaurus of poets. Why do the masses ignore us of poets? Staples of poets, fables of poets, incredible towering babels of poets. An operetta of poets, a vendetta of poets. Yes, I could have handled that better of poets. A sublime of poets, a shrine of poets. I'll buy yours if you buy mine of poets. An abyss of poets, a Judas kiss of poets. Please don't take this amiss of poets. An oak tree of poets, a banshee of poets. Will she, won't she, or can she of poets? A mystique of poets, an oblique of poets, a never-ending critique of poets, a splendor of poets, a surrender of poets, beware the hidden agenda of poets. A mother earth of poets, a virgin birth of poets, and the meek shall inherit the earth of poets. That's the gladiatrices. They do actually work to sort of help people get over emotional traumas and stuff like that, sort of, you know, by joking it away, as the male poets do of men. Yeah, okay, right. Thanks a lot for hearing me out.
Well, you're still a king of the lyrical poetry section, Jim.
I'm not like king.
Well, it's very nice. It's really good.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
You never fail to bring a smile as well. Anyway, we can move on now to Peter.
Yeah. We're going to read a couple of poems by E.J. I'm not sure whether it's Scovell or Scovel, but first, probably her best known poem, The Boy Fishing. I am cold and alone, on my tree root sitting still as stone. The fish come to my net. I scorned the sun, the voices on the road, and they have gone. My eyes are buried in the cold pond, under the cold spread leaves. My thoughts are silver wet. I have 10 stickleback, a half day's plunder, safe in my jar. I shall have 10 more yet. And one a short night. She is in the garden, weeding, almost in darkness. Indoors, we say it is quite dark. Fetch her in. Soon now the hedges will be filled with mist at daybreak, in the bird's hour. Get her to come, call your wife, our hostess, home. So she comes in, tranquil, grubby and vague with gardening, bringing the scent of stock through the door, bringing her unbelief in time with the frailty of the phantasmal summer night, and makes us tea and puts the tray on the floor, and the talk flourishes more than before. And power cut. Without a word, the light dropped, and the radio voice fell sheer to silence. So by fires and torches light, and curtains opened on unnatural, natural night, clouded and starry, on the top shelf, another year's dusty candle I have found and lit, and there it burns, I wish, forever, making within its range an unassertive harmony, yet slightly strange, subtle and mild and strange, with the dark and the fire. No light to read by, nor extrinsic voice. We can talk or dream in silence like the fire, like the flowers in the candle's web, like the very old. I think of powers failing, my generation aging, dying, gone, and think those happy who have candlelight and coals to modify and charm the dark when the power fails. I think it's a very lovely poet, E.J. Scovell. It's not strange it's not better known. But George is muted.
So I am. I was just saying to myself that good choice of poems, Peter. It's really good. Thank you.
Some nice lines in there, like the reference to the sticklebacks. You don't hear them talked about anymore.
Yeah.
He's read some lovely poems, E.J. Scovell.
Very good. Right. I've got a couple, and I've found one in this this book that I read from earlier on, because simply, and I'm going to blame John for this, because he mentioned the Crown and Greyhound in Dulwich Village. So, but I'll reveal all later on. On a strange early morning, last night the promised storm came, howling like a banshee, riding a chariot of lightning fire, with thunderous wheels, raining countless arrows, striking roof tiles, rendering gutters and drains ineffective. The dog started barking. I sought intruders downstairs to find a puddle in the kitchen, so I added the flat roof to the list of the ineffective, or perhaps the overwhelmed, just like me. But was there a visitor? Today would have been your birthday. That's that one. And this one's called An Emptiness of Empathy. Though the soup kitchens have gone from the streets, The homeless people still remain. Their sleeping bags in rain or sleet, regarded still with the old disdain. Too many foreigners over here. Why can't they go out and work? They're too aggressive, they put me in fear. I pay my taxes so they can shirk. We can open our hearts to Ukraine, lift a few hurdles, let a trickle come in, to salve our conscience at their pain, to reassure them we're not like Putin. As time erases their newsworthiness, we can ignore the killing and looting. What comes next, I fear to guess, we'll no doubt see the old prejudice return. Why eat here when you don't earn? Let me think these things of those we spurn. Let me walk in their shoes. Let me learn. That's that one. And this is the one that's inspired by pub names. That was the link with what John was reading. It's called Spoons. It's written by someone called Joe Bratton. For our honeymoon, Anton Chekhov wants to drink in all the country's Wetherspoons, but only the ones with lovely names. We begin with the moons, of course. The moon underwater, the moon in the square, the moon and the starfish, the moon and cross, the paper moon, the regal moon, the moon and bell, the whispering moon, the Lord Moon of the Mole. We stay in the sky and drink in the welkin, the seven stars, the rising sun. We take the flying boats to the bright water, the giddy bridge, the swan and angel, the water poet. In the mossy well, we read poems by Hopkins, and in the kingfisher, the dragonfly, and golden grove, we drink in all the birds, the skylark, the nightjar, the furze wren, the raven. We make love in the toilets at the Wild Rose, get a room in the Briar Rose, and spoon all night in the skirted bed. We drink in the trees next, the pear tree, the willow grove, the myrtle grove, the limes, the elms, the cherry tree. The willow walk in the weeping ash, Chekhov plans our final route. The jewel of the seven, the velvet coaster, the silk kite, the amber rooms. We stray past closing time at the licorice gardens and dance across the swirling carpet. We go north to the leaping salmon and the fair Oblair. In the Kirky puffer, Chekhov drinks Tennant's lager with whiskey chasers and is sick behind the bins. In the White Lady, we drink champagne. In the Sugarloaf and the Ice Bark, we enjoy the club deal specials. Chekhov drinks with the old men and weeps with laughter. We drink flaming sambucas in the Bright Helm. We drink in the Gold Cape, the Golden Acorn, the Golden Hope. What would you name your own Wetherspoons, he asks. The Wages of Sin, I say. The Nine Muses, the Abstinent Monk, the Abstemious Monk. I ask him back. The Cherry Orchard, he said, Three Sisters, the Seagull. You're so predictable, I say. From the terrace of the wood have, we watch the moon rise. There it is. Chekhov said, happiness is coming. It's nearer and nearer. I like that poem. Yeah, quite clever. Well, thank you, everybody. I loved your poems. It's been this forum is so varied and rich. You never know what you're going to hear. And thank you. You make my month.
And thank you, George, for doing the MC.
Oh, so well, it's a bit difficult at the moment because my eyes are playing up a bit. Yeah, no, it's lovely. We have to keep poetry going, though, don't we? Because there's so much in the world that is so crass, and Nick's poems moved me a lot, though, especially the first two he read from his pamphlet. It's very important.
Yeah.
I think one of the problems about poetry is basically you tend to write from your youth, and by the time it appeals to people of a certain generation, so you kind of miss out on the here and now aspect. I think it's one of the big problems of all performance.
Yeah.
Don't know what you think about that.
I think you always write informed by where you are in life.
Yeah.
If you're in your 30s, you're writing about motherhood or childbirth or settling down or buying a house. And if you're in your 60s or 70s or 80s, you start writing about the death of friends and how everyone around you seems to be popping off.
Yeah, you think you can run counter to that, but you can write other things as well, like that.
Yeah.
You need to be sort of hung by your age and whatever, by your age and sex and all that sort of
No, but
Well,
you're always hung by your age and your
time not
class
to.
and your environment and by what's happening in the world and so on.
But
Different
yeah, but to a certain extent, you exercise that with your poetry. But you can then move on. You can use it as a jumping place for writing about other things, about the here and now, the world, the future. That's the way I see it, to be honest.
Well, we have our crazy moments as well, where we write about nothing in particular, which is where there's a lot of spontaneity to some of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the sort of going back and reflecting on older voices. You know, and what was it? Picking up a book like this in Oxfam on lyrics from the Chinese, and you got poems in here that are, you know, well before the birth of Christ.
Yeah,
and they're about fields and birdsong.
Yeah, but when you go well, yeah,
this is timeless.
When you go well below,
Wonderful.
yeah, but that's timeless. That's, you know, what beyond Christ, etc. It's like things that are eternal. But one is often writing, people and poets are often writing within their 10-year thing, and it confines it to that kind of age. And the trouble is, these ages go by quite quickly. So what pleased 10 years ago doesn't please anymore, and it's a constant, you know.
Sure, well, these things to come around again. You know, you have Roman writers who are talking about you know, Roman writers talking about how they you know, as soon as they get anything organized at work, the management go and change everything, and you just go, well, that happened then too.
That's a here and now thing as well. But if it's here and now and in the past, and you know, that's okay. But if it's locked too firmly within the past, I think, although it's pleasurable to read for one, you know, part of the, you know, or for one audience, it excludes quite a lot of other people, and I'd rather people were sort of writing, you know, for today, tomorrow, you know, the future and stuff like that. I'd rather poetry was a jumping off place or wherever you want to go. You know, that's just a thought.
I think there are lots of conversations.
Will be big.
There's lots of conversations, and it's just a case of finding the conversations that you're interested in. And for me, the danger is not to be part of a conversation, just, you know, to be you know, an isolated voice, you know. But we always start with the individual voice, but then we listen either through Zoom or, you know, delving in the past or in the more contemporary poetry to other conversations. And I think we build our practice up through listening to conversations and trying to become relevant by the past, perhaps, or by other things,
It's a dichotomy as well when you take something like Ovid and something like AI and you throw them together. And it's like, you know, you can produce really interesting ideas.
That's the thing. When you go right back to the, you know, the earlier you go back, the more contemporary it seems, because they were writing things that were eternal, and you know, whereas when people are writing within a spectrum of social activity, blah blah blah, they sort of become dated, whereas the ancients are not particularly dated. They're writing often about eternal things.
But like
the stuff I wrote 10, 15 years ago, and I look at it now and I go, that looks really dated. Because it's talking about, you know, fashions or gadgets that, you know,
one just accepts that, you know, one accepts
didn't
that
last for more than 2 years.
As I say, poetry is a good jumping off place. In fact, it's a great jumping off place because you get to know yourself, and having got to know yourself, then you can get to know other people. And you can, but often poets tend to be locked inside themselves and not prepared to go into other people and do those other things.
I agree. Yeah, you've got to constantly ask yourself, how am I limiting myself? You know, what are the kind of the invisible borders around which, you know, I'm writing my poetry? How can I break out and kind of expand and, you know, rethink the whole thing?
Yeah, you sort of basically concentrate on
I'm happy doing, you know, what I'm doing. Do I want to be known as a great haiku poet who could bring nature to life. Is that, if you're happy with that, do it.
Well, there's so much material out there that we live in a kind of
Right.
mix and, we're talking about a ballet dancer in hobnail boots. We can mix and match things, can't we? And we can go to new places.
I think we're always addressing things that are important to us in that moment and talking about, even if we do talk about the past, we're doing it from a present moment viewpoint. We're not trying to transport ourselves back to that teenager necessarily, because we've got these different eyes and different experiences. So in a way, when we are in the here and now, whatever we're writing about, whatever time frame we're writing about.
But less so than if you're writing about the here and now, the going back, it gives you a historical perspective and you link it to the here and now. But if you go back too much and get stuck in the historical perspective, it is a historical piece of work.
Yeah.
And it doesn't appeal to anybody, who is fairly young. It wasn't so, but that is the case.
You wrote a poem some time ago, Jim, about I think it was about an old people's home, someone in an old people's home, and it was so moving, and that was probably based on things you'd seen or experienced. But it was.
I would argue that that an old people's homes that with us eternally. We've always got old people's homes.
There's also a question of whether
it's going to be the same for whatever.
I suppose it's a question of, as a 50-year-old, 60-year-old poet, should you be writing to try and appeal to the 24-year-olds, or are they going to be writing for each other anyway?
You can do it. I'm just saying.
We write for ourselves, really.
You can just say, well, I'm going to write for a 24-year-old. I'm just not going to declare who I am. I will just write the poems and hide behind a persona, and you just do it. Or you'll write sort of drama or this, that, and the other, and you'll have it enacted by young people. You can just do it. It's a jumping off place. It's not the sort of, the place where you get trapped and you can't actually escape because you're trapped in this world of poetry, what you did 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Which is,
well, a lot of your poetry, Jim, is very very saucy, but nobody thinks you're a sex maniac. It's just it is a persona that you're adopting.
It's all wannabe sex maniac.
It's a failed sex maniac. I think these are the thoughts of what I call the typical man. The sex life is usually humdrum, blah 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 blah, but they have these thoughts and dreams and aspirations, although they wouldn't like to put it into words or writing. And I'm prepared to put it into words and writing, because it'd be writing partly about me and partly about other people who impact me, and partly, all the can be related to, various, ages and whatever.
Anyway, I'm going to call it a day, but it's been lovely. Narani, I hope you come back again, because it's nice to have new people.
When's the next one?
It's always the middle Wednesday of the month. So
no, it's the third
Friday.
Sorry, the middle Friday of the month.
Third Friday.
I'll
send out an email beforehand too.
The first Friday is a physical meeting. The first Friday of the month is a physical meeting at Ruskin House in Croydon, and then exactly 2 weeks after that is the Zoom.
Okay.
So it's always the third Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right then.
Well, to keep it alliterative, it's the third Friday.
The third.
Third
Friday.
Third Friday.
Right.
South London night. Third.
I'll put my teeth in.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, night, everybody, and
thank you. Lovely to meet you.
Thanks a lot, Peter. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Enjoyed the poetry.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Yeah.
Bye.
Right.
Good night.
Bye.
Keep writing.
Yeah.